I'm Shelby de Rouville, and I am a member of Saber Guild Corellia. I'm also a cosplayer and a seamstress located in New Jersey.
Hi, I'm James Hannon, author of Anatomy of a Cosplayer, Tales from Behind the Mask, and I'm here with Shelby de Rouville of Saber Guild. Today, we're going to learn everything about Shelby and Saber Guild, and who knows, I might be sabering up.
Are you ready?
All right.
So I got started with Saber Guild, specifically due to the video game The Force Unleashed 1. It came out on the Xbox 360, and I just immediately fell in love with it. Everything about Starkiller as a character, as his designs, everything about him is just so unique and awesome that I immediately fell in love with him. So in turn, I wanted to be like that. I wanted to learn how to wield a lightsaber like that. I wanted to be as cool as he was. One of my cosplayer friends, who's part of Endor Temple of Long Island, actually shared a link on Facebook showing that there was a new charter for Saber Guild starting in New Jersey, and I was super interested, and I saw that they were having practice Tuesday nights up in Rahway, and I'm from Toms River, so I had to drive a bit of a way, but it was a lot of fun. My first practice, I got there, I met a lot of people, and I started learning how to wield a lightsaber. And almost 3 years later, I've been going hard. I've been doing this a lot, and I can do some pretty cool stuff. So that's how I started with Saber Guild. So I do have quite a handful of characters that I cosplay. So I have Fiona from Adventure Time, I have Sailor Neptune from Sailor Moon, Mega Man Zero from the Mega Man Zero games. My favorite is definitely my Jedi Master, which is known as Sube Fioru, and then my Sith, which is Briar Cerasis. So those are the characters that I have. Out of all of them, my favorite one is definitely my Sith. When you're going around, looking all sinister and everything, and you go around and people kind of look at you, and you're like, and you can look at them back. I mostly make my own costumes, my own parts of the costumes. There's a few things that you do have to buy sometimes here and there, but for the most part, most of my costumes are handmade by myself. So from the beginning, I guess it all starts off with deciding your costume, picking what you want to do, and then for me personally, I usually sketch everything out on my sketchbook, really break down each part of the costume, and then try to decide how I'm going to tackle that. Go to the craft store, go to the fabric store. I shop mostly at Joann's because coupons, and then break it down each part, sew it together, figure out how I can attach it to my body. That's definitely the most important part, though, is figuring out how to attach things to the body. Put it on your body and make sure it fits and works. Do a jump test. For those who don't know what a jump test is, put your costume on, jump around on it, make sure nothing falls off. Definitely jump test is a good one. And then see if your costume works and if you can take it on the con floor. It was a baseball game at the Lakewood Blue Claws Stadium, and that was my first true performance as a full-fledged member of Saber Guild, and I was in my Jedi Padawan at the time, Tez Corin, and at the time there wasn't a lot of female members of Saber Guild, and I think I was one of the only female Jedis that were there that day, and I remember standing in line with all my other fellow Saber Guild members, and this little girl saw me in the crowd, and she locked eyes with me, and she ignored everybody else, came running right towards me, and just was all smiles, asked for a hug, and then was just like, she turned around to her dad, who was behind her, and just gave the biggest smile, and just like, take a picture, Daddy! I got to meet Sam Witwer at Star Wars Celebration Chicago 2019, and I was dressed as Starkiller, who he plays in The Force Unleashed 1 and 2, and that was just an awesome experience, and I couldn't have wished for a more awesome celebration experience than meeting Sam Witwer wearing the Star Killer costume. So one of my worst experiences being in a costume actually happened at a Saber Guild troop. I was my Sith, Briar Cerasis, and we were doing a performance. And this was an event that alcohol was being served at. We were in the middle of a performance, and this guy who was drunk decided to step in on the action halfway through the show and came between our members who are swinging their lightsabers at each other. So I had to come at him a little bit in my Sith character and like tell him like, sir, you cannot be here. Not a good time for you to be around swinging metal and plastic. So please step away. And he ended up actually getting kicked out of the event because he was just being overall disruptive. So stalker experiences are definitely more common than they should be, but unfortunately, it is something that people deal with pretty regularly. Unfortunately, I was at a convention and I was helping at the table, answering questions and stuff like that, and a guy came up to me and decided that he wanted to talk to me, which is fine. I can talk to anybody, and halfway through the conversation, he gave me his name, and he offered a handshake, so I gave him a handshake, and he pulled me in towards him, and he whispered to me, he was like, "You're really pretty," and like he backed off a little bit after that, but it was definitely nerve-wracking. Thankfully, the guys at the Saber Guild table, I told them of it, and they kind of kept an eye out for him. The guy kept coming back to the table, kept asking where I was throughout the event. I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel safe. He did end up, at the end of the day, because I was in costume, he did end up following me to the bathroom, so that was even more concerning, and I actually had to like sneak out of the convention just to make sure that like he didn't know where I was going. So I costume for a lot of reasons. Actually, one of the biggest ones is I love to create. I like to be innovative. I like to solve problems. And then on top of it all, like in regards to Saber Guild just offers that extra layer where you can really interact with people. You can really bring a level of connection that you don't see in the real world. You watch the movies, you watch the cartoons, you play the video games, and you're like, yeah, that's really cool if there's a lightsaber and these people are doing these awesome fights. But when you see it in person, that's what Saber Guild offers, is that like that real life lightsaber experience. So Saber Guild is a Star Wars lightsaber performance group. What does that mean? We're solely focused on Star Wars. We're recognized by LFL, Lucasfilms Limited, and Disney. And we also focus on choreography and performance. So not only do we go to events dressed up as Star Wars characters, but we also learn how to wield lightsabers. So the main charity that Saber Guild Corellia focuses on here in New Jersey is Robert Wood Johnson Children's Memorial Hospital. That's our main charity that we that we raise funds for throughout the year. We also have raised funds though for the New Jersey Special Olympics as well as Make-A-Wish. If somebody who is interested in joining Saber Guild, they definitely want to go onto saberguild.org, find out where the nearest charter is located to them. We have temples located all around the world, and even if there isn't a temple located near you, you can still reach out to the global team, and they can put you in touch with people who might be interested in starting a temple in your area. You definitely need to have a costume. So Saber Guild focuses solely on lightsaber wielding characters, so Sith or Jedi, good or bad. Definitely one of the most important things that you'll need to join Saber Guild is a lightsaber. A combat-ready lightsaber, to be specific. Definitely not something from the toy store, retractable plastic, nothing like that. These are a little bit more hardcore than that, and what battle ready means is that we actually do hit each other a little bit with these. This is a polycarbonate blade, and the hilt is made out of some kind of metal. Mostly aluminum is the most common, but this one, as you can see, is aluminum, and it has some powder coat on it, so pretty cool. So the future of cosplay for me, I'm looking to join the 501st Legion with a biker scout. I have 2 costumes ready for Rebel Legion, Star Killer, and an X-Wing pilot. I'm also looking to start a Mando for the Mandalorian Mercs, and eventually, hopefully one day, I'll have an R2-D2 unit. So, in regards to whether I'm a cosplayer or a costumer, I would say I'm both. I do characters outside of the costuming Star Wars groups. So, like, I do a lot of Pokemon, I do anime characters and cartoon characters. So, in that regards, I'm definitely a cosplayer. But as for costumer, I would say I'm one of those as well in regards to the Star Wars groups. I don't know, when I'm cosplaying, I'm not really a character though, so am I really cosplaying if I'm not being in character? I'm actually more in character when I'm being my Star Wars characters, because we do our performances, we do live shows, and you have to act, and you have to be in character during those moments. It gets a little gray. I think they kind of overlap each other in a lot of ways, so I would say I was both.